Hello and welcome to Who's On Next, the podcast that only my dog can hear. And today I have a woman known for her work on things such as Hazbin Hotel, Ollie and Scoops, and her own podcast, Hunicast, is Ashley Nichols.
Wait, can anybody hear that? I'm not a dog, so what is somebody speaking to me? Oh.
I knew it would only work with him. No. Calvin, my dog is in here right now. Calvin, he's asleep.
Shout out to Calvin,
he's
the
asleep.
Goodest boy.
He's asleep. He doesn't care right now. He's laying down on a piece of acoustic foam on the floor.
I mean, that sounds like a cozy place to lay. Like, Michael has this giant stack of acoustic foam in a closet right now, and every time I see it, my only thought is, what would it be like to lay on that? That's just all I want to know.
Was that like the house tour where there was just the room full of foam on the floor? Like
there was the room, and there were streamers everywhere, and a bag of Lay's barbecue chips. It was like that when I moved in, and I'm like, all right, that's already Michael's room.
How old did it say how old the bag was? Like, did it say?
This house is supposed to have been empty for like 2 years. So God knows. That room still smells like barbecue chips, by the way.
Oh, God. Well, that tells me they probably went stale if I hear that. Like, because usually
I'm sure they created new life. Like... Anyway, total context. Hi, my name is Ashley Nichols. I'm an animator and a cleanup artist, and I have a podcast. My boyfriend is a big, dumb goofball and voice actor, and we just moved, and it's been a whole adventure, and it's really fun and cool, and I'm happy to be here.
Yay.
We just start rambling, like, immediately. We just start off rambling about all this shit, and I'm sure your listeners are like, what the fuck are they going on about?
Before we even started, we talked for like 10 minutes just before this even started. Just a bunch of random shit. Like,
this is why my podcast is a fucking mess, and I always blame my guests. Like, oh, the guests always get things off track. And then the moment I go on somebody else's podcast, everything gets off track, and I'm like, hold on. There's only one common denominator here.
Am I the problem?
I'm not the problem. I'm perfect. What are you talking about? It's fine.
There's nothing wrong with my podcast except me.
Ain't that the fucking truth, though, man? Ain't that just the way?
With your animation career, I guess, where did that all start?
Oh, Lord. So, I mean, I guess it goes back to, like, kind of... when I first discovered like the internet, basically, like probably goes back even before that. Like as a little kid, my family would always make sure to buy me like every Disney movie on VHS and all that. And I would watch nothing but animated movies. I had zero interest in live action, like period.
Same.
I was like, what's this? Real people? I experience that every day. Screw that. Give me the fox that shoots arrows and shit.
Oh no, yeah, as a kid, for me it was always I think the only live action I watched was like the Amanda Show and all that. Like stuff like that. It was never like
stuff that was live action cartoons was good.
Yeah.
Like Drake and Josh was also
Drake and Josh.
Drake and Josh. But yeah, like Drake and Josh was a rare exception because that shit was good. But yeah, like I was always obsessed with animation. But I didn't like know the term like animation. I didn't understand that it was like people doing a bunch of drawings over and over until like probably around like 6th grade. Our school forced us all to have laptops, which, you know, great idea. Force a bunch of 6th graders to all have their own personal computers that they have with them in school at all times. That won't go terrible and cause us all to get distracted and just use the internet all day long.
What was even the purpose of that? I can't even imagine.
I went to some weird, like, ritzy Catholic school, and honestly, they were on to something, like, genuinely. Like, they, like, computers are the future. We need to make sure our students, like, have computers, and we get our school set up with that. But really what it led to is all of us watching, like, YouTube videos and, like, going on internet forums and getting into shit that we probably shouldn't have. But through that's how I eventually discovered DeviantArt, because the only thing I knew about because our school taught it to us, was how to use Google. Like, that was an actual thing that I learned in school, which seems like so old fashioned and shit, but we actually had a class on how to type in an HTML link. What is google.com? How to properly use Google? What is Yahoo?
See, like, in my computer class, we just played like Zoombinis and shit. We didn't like use we didn't use like internet stuff really.
I take all of this knowledge that I have acquired from school and I go to Google and I type in Danny Phantom because that was my jam. And I'm just going through Google Images, pages upon pages, and then I start seeing like art of Danny Phantom, and I'm like, yo, what's this? And it was like art that wasn't from the show. It was entirely new shit. And I'm like, what? Like, my teeny tiny 12-year-old mind is fucking blown. And I discover DeviantArt, this lovely little website that is definitely not filled with Sonic fetish porn and all sorts of other weird shit.
Well, not just Sonic fetish.
Very very classy website. And I start getting into like Danny Phantom fan art, and I discover like that whole community. And through that, I discovered like people online like making animation, and like I just dove down that rabbit hole of like learning what animation is, how it's made, what people do to make that. And like within a year, I had pirated Flash off the piratebay.com. And I had Flash as this teeny tiny 12-year-old, and I was just dicking around with it. But I never like really made animation until like quite a few years later, because I didn't think that I could be an animator. I'm like, man, this is so much work, and I'm a lazy, stupid teenager, I'll never be able to do this, whatever. And so I didn't really I've really only been doing animation seriously since like 2016. And if I'm being real with you, I still don't animate a whole lot. I just I get assigned things for work, and I'm like, a walk cycle. I've never done this before. Time to learn. So by all means, I'm a terrible animator. But it's gotten me work, and I've worked on a lot of cool stuff, and it's awesome, and I love every second of it. My real skill, the only thing that I'm actually moderately competent with, is like cleanup animation. It's basically being paid to be horribly OCD for about 100 hours a week.
Yeah, cleanup is like something I've never 100% understood. Like, at least when I've heard it explained, I've never fully got. I think it's like you just go back and fix the drawings that people did, basically. Like, that's the simplest way I've ever heard it described, is you just go back and fix the drawings that people drew.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. Not a lot of people know what cleanup animation is. Like, even within the animation circle, like, I'll have people be like, oh, I've never even like thought about cleanup animation. Like, what is that? And what cleanup animation is you know the Disney like pencil tests or pencil drawings that you've seen, like they're like, oh, these beautiful like moving sketches. Oh, it's so cool. We take that and we try not to ruin it. Is basically what we do. But cleanup animation is basically taking a sketch and doing the line work for it, and doing the color, and doing that over and over and over again at 24 frames per second until you go insane. I've done animation and I have done cleanup, and let me tell you, cleanup is hell. It is the worst, because you're basically taking this beautiful animation and having to put lines and color to it while maintaining like the beauty and the flow of the original. And it's so easy to make the lines like jitter and boil around and everything look terrible. And you're sitting here and you're like, this incredible person made this, and I have to make it even better. But yeah, you basically take a sketch and take it to full color for viewing. You create the final image basically before it's composited and put on the background and everything. And a lot of it is also just cleaning up or fixing any mistakes that were in the animation, anything that was off model. Like I said, it's basically just being OCD for many, many hours at a time. Just OCD and anxiety, which is why I'm really good at it.
It's so cleanup artists are basically the equivalent of the woman that tried to fix they're the good version of the woman that tried to fix that Jesus painting a few years ago.
Yeah, all we're trying to do is not be her.
Yeah.
Because man, painting. I have seen cleanup animation that took the beautiful depiction of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, beautifully painted, and turned it into a mush monster. I have seen the cleanup animation equivalent of that, and it makes me cry every time because I'm like, how? No, why? Because like it's so easy to ruin animation with cleanup. Like it's so easy, and like nobody really thinks about that. And so I want to like put more awareness out about like what cleanup animation is and how it's actually, if you're looking to be an animator, it's a really viable option to getting your foot in the door in the animation industry, because like everybody wants to be an animator. Nobody wants to be a fucking cleanup animator because it sucks. But it gives you hours upon hours to study beautiful animation and like add your own flair to it and learn and study and work alongside really, really cool people. So if you want to get your foot in the door, and you know, all animation positions are filled because they always are, because there's a million animators out there, try for cleanup animation.
Try cleanup. No one wants it, but people will do it.
Nobody wants to do it. It's your best shot. It's honestly though one of the most important parts, like really, because you can't just take these rough sketches and then put color underneath it and put it on TV and be like, here you go. You know, everybody like, this looks messy and horrible. What the hell? So it's very important, but like nobody knows about it.
I think I remember the first time I ever heard about the term cleanup artist. I believe it was like a behind the scenes thing of like Cats Don't Dance or something like that. I think that was like one of the first times I had ever heard of that term. And even then they didn't fully explain what it was. They just kind of said, we take this to the cleanup guys and they make it look pretty. I'm like, okay, but what does the cleanup guy do? Like, are you saying the art looks shitty before it gets to the cleanup guy?
Okay, let me explain this a little more clear, because my explanation was weird, but I just thought of this. So you know how like classic animations all hand drawn like on sheets of paper and they flip through it.
Yeah.
But there's also, you know, cell animation, which is when you take a clear cell and then you paint over it, and that's what gets captured over top the background and everything. Animators do the paper sketches. Cleanup animators are the people going on the cell, painting the line art on one side and then flipping it over and doing the color. Like that's the difference between animation and cleanup.
Because I forget when. I know Disney went digital. I believe they went hand-drawn, but they were like digitally coloring, I believe, in the 90s. Because I know Rescuers Down Under. Rescuers Down Under was like the first where they were using
I was about
to
say Rescuers Down Under was definitely the first. And I think what's shocking is paper animation, like even though most things have moved to digital, paper animation's still alive and well. Like even some of the animation on Hell of a Boss was done on paper, I believe. I know at least one of their animators mainly does animation on paper. And like if you look at things like Steven Universe and basically anything Studio Trigger makes, like a ton of that is still all done on paper, but we do things digitally for coloring and line art because fuck painting cells. That shit takes so long. I know, because I've done it for fun because I hate myself.
Well, I know Musker and Clements still do hand-drawn pencil tests for their movies, because they did for Moana. Because I know Moana, they did a bunch of pencil tests prior to the CG.
Yeah. And if you look around, like there's a ton of pencil tests for Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph. Like,
right, yeah.
Even now that we're in a 3D pipeline, like 2D animation hand-drawn on paper has not died. As much as, you know, most mainstream animation studios would like to say that it's dead, it's very much not.
As much as I don't like him, I think Doug Walker made a good point about it once. He made a good point. I think sooner than later, I think there will be a revival of 2D sometime in the next few years. I think
no, absolutely.
I think there will be within the next like 5 or 6 years, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like people have been holding on to 2D animation for so long, and like it is still very alive and well in Japan, And I
television,
think,
yeah, like TV
and television especially, yeah. And like, no, like as hard as they have tried, they cannot kill 2D animation. People still love it, and I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to make a huge comeback sometime soon. And we're already seeing a lot of it resurfacing. Like there was the 2D animated My Little Pony movie that went to theaters. There was Klaus, which is fucking incredible. And
Spider-Verse had a lot of 2D implementation.
Yeah, like a lot of 3D animation is implementing 2D. And like I even looked at the Teen Titans movie, which was animated in 2D, that went to theaters, and I'm like, you know what? I have opinions about Teen Titans Go, but I am so happy to see 2D animation kind of slowly creeping its way back into theatrical releases. Well, even if it's something as simple as like a cartoon movie.
I forget who, but I remember someone said like a few months ago, someone brought up like, because I believe one of the heads of Disney said that they are interested in trying a 2D project at some point. I'm like, I think it would do really well right now if they did a 2D film. Like,
please, Disney, give me. I miss it so much.
I mean, do you believe in the whole like Winnie the Pooh thing about how like they might have intentionally killed their 2D department? Like, have you ever like believed?
Oh, oh my God, fucking Hollywood kills their productions constantly. Like it's been proven that they will intentionally screw over their projects for an agenda. Like it's not even a conspiracy theory. Like it's absolutely true. So I know Disney intentionally screwed over Treasure Planet. They didn't try and screw over Princess and the Frog. Like they genuinely did try with that, and
Treasure Planet breaks my heart.
Oh my God, same. It's so good.
Well, number one, that's my favorite Disney movie. Like,
good, fair.
It's a movie where number one, Musker and Clements had been trying to make that movie for like 12 years at that point.
I know.
Like, that was like a giant passion project for them, and they just kept
crawling to Sir Disney's feet. Not Disney himself, he was dead, but they kept crawling over, just like, please, sir, please, can we make our movie? And they're like, no, you have to make a million other things, and then we will give you a movie. And they're like, please, sir, one movie. And they're like, fine, but we're going to screw it over and make sure nobody sees it.
It's like it's like the Patton Oswalt double down argument. It's like, sir, we love your food. Prove it by burning yourself. Like...
Disney, I love you, and if you would love to hire me, my email is in my Twitter description. You're amazing. You're great, Disney. You definitely. There's nothing. No, you're amazing. I would love to work with you. Just.
It's like, please, Disney. I want to interview more people. Please don't.
Please, Disney. I would like one. I would like one loaf of bread. The Disney overlords are going to
I had water in my mouth when you did that, and I was trying not to spit it out.
Don't fucking choke and die, dude. Come on, this is your podcast.
No, I wasn't choking. I was afraid I was going to spit it out. That's what I was afraid of more
just
than
all over your equipment, just everywhere.
Oh, no. If I killed this mic, I would cry. This is my good mic. I don't want to kill this mic.
I will do my best to not be funny for the rest of the podcast, so you won't have to deal with that. I'm deeply sorry. This is serious time now. I don't know why you're laughing, dude. This is all serious. I'm just trying to be genuine and serious and like have a really serious
discussion. We're trying to have a moment
on
here
on this very serious podcast, and you just keep laughing. I can't work with this. I'm calling my agent.
I'm leaving. This podcast is bullshit. I'm going back to my own podcast. At least there I get respect.
Oh, that's the biggest lie I've ever heard.
I know. That's why I said it.
Nobody respects me. It's fine. It's part of the bit. It's why people love me. Let's bully Ashley. It's great. Love it. We love to see it. We stand.
I love the idea of this podcast ending and you being like, wow, that went really well. And then like 3 days later, just back to the Ashley shit. Like just 3
Oh,
days later.
we got a Hunicast. Like, this is gonna air later, I believe, but we got a fucking Hunicast airing tomorrow from when this is being recorded. So that'll be fun. Can't wait to be tormented for God knows how many hours.
Oh boy.
Everybody check out the Hunicast on youtube.com. Channel name Ashley Nichols Art. Subscribe to my Patreon. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh god. But I guess was there ever like a big inspiration, like a specific person with your animation or your art style? Anything of that nature, really?
I mean, I spent probably like a good 4 years just copying Butch Hartman, which is a controversial statement nowadays.
Boy. Oh boy.
But like I won't lie to you, Butch Hartman shaped a lot of my early years. I spent many hours learning his art style, and then I was like, I like this shit called anime now. I'm gonna go copy that instead. So it's this weird kind of conglomeration of Disney, Butch Hartman, and like anime, and it's turned into its own thing. But if I had to put like the root of everything, it's definitely Danny Phantom. Like, that's what I really aspired to draw like for a long time. And so now I'm just like, cursed.
So you're telling me that Butch shaped your childhood?
He's shaping my adult migraines now.
I mean, he technically didn't make Danny Phantom, so I guess that's...
Yeah, that's why it's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember I made like a thread on Twitter, like, because there was a lot of shit coming out about him again, like a month ago, and I made like a thread, like, keep in mind, he didn't make Danny Phantom. He was like a co-creator, but it's much more like, I forget, one of the other co-creators of Fairly Odd Parents, it was more his idea. Him and the guy who made Kim Possible were like the two main guys on that show.
I remember. I don't remember his name, but I remember he did a lot of the character design and a lot of finalizing on the style, and I'm like, that's why this looks great. Cool.
Yeah, no.
Now I understand.
It also explains why Butch can't draw the Danny Phantom character.
Okay, to be fair, he can't draw any characters nowadays. Like, let's be real.
His art style is deteriorated to a point where I kind of look at it almost like how John Kay's art style is deteriorated. Like,
there's something with like old egotistical white dudes that makes their art deteriorate rapider than a fucking I'm not gonna make that joke. I was gonna make an old person joke, but it makes it deteriorate rapider than the pizza that I bought last week that sat out on the counter for a day too long.
Did you not even eat it? What did you do?
I just looked at it longingly.
I looked at it after I made it and I was like, should I eat this?
But like, I look at people like Butch Hartman and like Ken Penders and
Ken
John
Pender's
Kay.
art was never good though.
It was okay. It was serviceable. Like, if you look at the stuff that people don't meme on all the time, like some of his normal comic pages, like, it's not good, but it wasn't the horrifying eldritch creature that we see today. Like, I don't know what it is. And I look at this and I'm like, please never let that happen to me. If this ever starts happening to me, like, shoot me. Like, just kill me. Like, that's just, I'm over. I'm done.
I want to say it's ego. Maybe it's just they keep needing to feel like they need to update their style when there was nothing wrong with their style to begin with. Like, I don't know. Like,
I think it's a lack of self-awareness and a lack of ability to take criticism and surrounding yourself by yes men because you can't take criticism.
Well, with John Kay, it's probably the opposite for most of that, but
yeah, who knows what the root of it is, but I'm like, old white dudes with a lot of ego can't draw. That's the takeaway.
But I guess with a project like Hazbin, by the way, holy shit with what came out about Hazbin today.
I know, it's so exciting. I'm so happy for Viv. Like, she deserves this. more than anything in the world. Like I don't think a better production company could have picked up Hazbin. Like it's amazing.
I remember talking to Dave about it. I'm like, I don't know who could have, honestly, with that show. I was thinking HBO, possibly. And they do have ties to HBO, so there is that connection.
So. Oh yeah, like it could still definitely go to HBO, Netflix, like any of that. The A24, which is who picked up Hazbin, just for the
uninitiated who are listening.
Yeah. So they're a production company though, so like that's hasn't decided like the network, so it could still go to like it could go to like Disney Plus or
if it went to Disney
Channel, Nick Jr., PBS Kids.
I'd be blown away if that went to Disney Plus.
No, but legit, it could still go to like Netflix or HBO or any of those. Like where it's airing hasn't been decided yet, to my knowledge at least. So A24 is just the production company, but still it's absolutely wild.
Like that's just so crazy to me. Like just also the day we record this, that comes out. Like also,
I know, it's so cool. I was talking to Michael beforehand, and Michael was like, "What are you gonna say about like the news? Like I know that's gonna be a big thing," and I'm like, "I don't know. Congratulations! Like it's fucking crazy. Like it's just absolutely wild. Like I'm just so happy for Viv. Like that was her doing like over years and years and years of hard work, and it's paid off."
And I mean, I guess with working on Hazbin, I mean, what was it like working on a project just that spread out with the amount of people that worked on it, just from everywhere? Like that was just such a big collaborative effort. Like,
so I'll be real with you, I don't have much perspective because Hazbin was the first project I ever worked on ever.
I mean,
like that was
like holy shit.
That was the first job I ever got. Like it was crazy. And I'm just like, how the fuck did I luck out working on this big, insane, crazy, cool thing as like my first like real job ever? Like I didn't even know how to do cleanup when I got hired. I didn't know how to animate. I didn't know any of that. Like I just saw a tweet from Viv saying I'm hiring cleanup animators. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna put my
animation. Yeah, right. I'm just gonna put my animation on a reel and fucking apply and hope for the best, and I made it in. But I'll say like working on other projects since, they definitely don't operate the same. Like it seems like it's a rarity to work on a project where everybody's so interconnected and like so many people are working together on like an online freelance thing, because I know other people who have worked on online freelance stuff, and I've worked on a few other online freelance projects, and there is no like we worked via a group like server where we could all like talk and stuff. And the other projects I've worked on, like we didn't do that. Like there was no communication really. Like some of us hit each other up and like added each other as friends on Discord, but that was entirely like independently, we weren't all brought together. And so I think being able to like talk as a team and collaborate really added a lot to the project. And now with Lackadaisy, the newest project that I'm working on, where I'm cleanup lead currently, we are also doing the big group where everybody works together, and it's so nice, and it adds so much to like the team morale, everybody getting to hang out and like make memes and shitpost and work together. Like I think it's really the closest you'll ever get to the studio environment online. I say as somebody who's never worked in a studio and has no idea what that's like, but I can guess. I can imagine.
Open like you're in an office, it's like, I'm alone. I'm alone to my art. Open the door. There's like no sunlight, like that bit in Chowder, like fucking.
How'd you know I always hiss the moment I see the sun?
I think
that's just what all animators do.
I don't know. The moment I see the sun, I just turn to stone. It's like gargoyles. Every time I open the window, I get up out of bed and like, oh, it's dark in my room, and then I open the blinds. I'm like, eh.
Honestly, that's just how I feel when I wake up in the morning. I'm like, fuck.
You open your eyes, the first thing you say, fuck.
Yeah, how you do? That's normal, right?
That's the average mid-20s wake up routine. What's I forgot who said this, but oh no, it was Richard Horvitz. I remember like an interview he did once where he like made a joke about like I have days where I wake up sometimes and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm still here.
Oh god. It's such a mood though.
I mean, so what was Ollie and Scoops like, I guess, compared to Hazbin? Like, was that more isolated or was that more...
For Ollie and Scoops and Too Loud, both directed by Nico, it was mainly just like he would message me or email me and say, hey, here's your list of shots and here's all your notes. Like, have fun. Like, there was no real collaboration or like discussion. Like, I could, email and talk back and forth and have any questions that I wanted answered, like there was still that, but I didn't really get to know like many of the other people on the team, and like a few of them I already knew, and then I got to know some more, but it wasn't that big collaborative group like you see with Hazbin. And who knows? I mean, I don't work on Ollie and Scoops now, so it could have changed. Like they could have like made like some sort of group where everybody gets to work together and collaborate and talk, but I only really worked on episode 1.
I mean, like I guess it's the same for me because I've done voiceover projects where I don't talk to people that often. Like I think it's mostly just like a text thing in
you
chats.
just
like,
kind of feel like you're floating out into the void. Like
we have like 1 or 2 calls where we record things and then that's it. Like pretty much. I mean, sometimes I've had bits where I still talk to people, but I don't know, like I it's like with the anime SpongeBob. I'm doing a voice in that for the dub. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, I'm doing Mr. Krabs for that. But
nice.
It was everyone there was nice, and we had like 2 calls for the recording session, but we all did big group calls. But other than that, there was never much. I think it's also, I'm just not much of a text talker. I don't like talking through text is the other thing. Like
I'm the opposite. I love talking through text. It's like, good. I don't have to actually speak with anybody. Amazing. And then I turn around and like, I'm going to podcast for 3 hours straight. Ooh.
I don't know. I've just always preferred to call people. I just don't like talking through text. Like it I feel like I get more of, I think I get more out of a conversation when it's talking rather than through text because I can't read certain things.
Yeah, like it's easier to like tell tone and like what people mean.
Right, yeah.
And I just have horrendous social anxiety. Horrible social anxiety. Dude. So like all I can muster usually is just the ability to type a few words to somebody.
Like, okay, I actually want to ask this because you have Hunicast. Do you get the same anxiety before the podcast? Do you get the same level of anxiety every time?
Hunicast lays me out fucking always for the entire day before and the entire day afterwards. It's a 3-day marathon event of anxiety for me every fucking time. It hasn't changed. In fact, I think it's gotten worse. When I first started Hunicast, I was just like, whatever, this is fun. Talk to my friends, post it on YouTube. And now it has like this audience, like this it's become this monolith. It's become this creature that I've lost control of and it's just taken on new life. And I'm like, fuck, how am I going to put a leash on this thing and make it walk around and like perform for fucking an hour? Like, it's just terrifying to me, and I'm so glad people love it and enjoy it. But it's anxiety, tons of it, always.
Hunicast is no longer a small dog on a leash. It's like a fucking Cerberus on a leash.
It really is. And the 3 heads are me, Michael, and Ed at this point. Let's be real.
It is, and it's not like a small Cerberus. It is specifically like the Cerberus from like the Disney Hercules, like the 10-foot, like 20-foot Cerberus that Hades has.
It's just a big Cerberus with me, Michael, and Ed as the 3 heads all snapping at each other, like, just fighting.
It's like fucking everyone. You in the middle not doing anything and the other 2 heads fighting with each other constantly.
Oh Lord, it's funny because like me and Michael are like the hosts, right? But all anybody cares about is fucking Bosco. Like every single time, even if he's not there, everybody's like, "Where's Ed? How's Ed doing?" And I'm just like, he's the third unofficial host. Like, just the fans have decided it. I had no say.
I remember talking to Michael like months ago when I interviewed him, and he said the same thing. It's like, Ed might as well be a host at this point. Like, he said the exact same thing.
It's like I said, it's taken on its own life without me. Like it's become its own thing, and I'm like, all right, cool, have fun, whatever.
I to this day, I've been interviewing people for 7 years now, and I still to this I mean, this podcast itself didn't start till like March of this year, but I was regularly interviewing people from like 2013 to 2016 for a period of time, and to this day I still get the same level of rumbly feeling in my tum-tum, like just a bad jitters, like even before the call. Like no matter who it is, like I still get worried. Just I don't know if it's just I feel like something's gonna go wrong, or oh god, I still get it to this day.
It's like we're like, okay, we're gonna talk to this person, and then the world's gonna end. Like,
oh no, even like 10 minutes before this one, my stomach was like, you need to go to the bathroom right now. You sit down and think about what you've done before you start this podcast. Like,
yes, the pre-podcast shits, as we call them. Yeah. Your body's got to get all the shit out the other end, so it's ready to get all the shit out the talky end.
The talking end.
I'll be real with you. I'll be totally honest. I didn't take a shit before this podcast, and I think it's affecting my performance. So I apologize. Of course, this is going to be your most vulgar one. It has me in it.
Man, to think...
Disney overlords, I love you. Please hire me. Definitely not the Monsanto Corporation taking over the world. I love you. All hail Mickey. He is my Lord and Savior. Just throwing that out there. You know, it's fine. What were we talking about?
Your OC just starts morphing into a mouse. Like, shit, like...
Honey Mouse. No copyright infringement intended.
No, Honey Mouse. No, it has to turn into a Pooh Bear OC. It has to turn into a Pooh Bear OC because of that.
Every time I hear Pooh Bear or like have him mentioned, I get PTSD because Michael constantly does Winnie the Pooh impressions and says the worst, most fucked up shit.
Oh, I do the same thing with my Pooh.
What is it about this sweet, innocent character that makes everybody want to turn into fucking animals? Like, God.
I don't know. There's just some... I remember one time I was in the car with my parents, and they knew I did the Pooh impression, and they just said, hey, Michael, can you say some really dirty shit as Pooh? For like... So I think like the first thing I said, what was it? Something like, oh, the laxatives are kicking in. I've got to shit. Like, something like that. It's like the first thing I said. Oh,
I think people love making Pooh so fucked up is because he's the embodiment of like
innocence.
It's
like
just so sweet and pure and cute and round and soft, and then people like my boyfriend turn around and make him talk about bad dragon dildos for like, you know, an hour.
Man.
Hi Disney, please hire me. I would love to work for you. I have a pitch and everything ready. Just let me know. Hit me up. Emails in my Twitter bio.
God damn it. Okay, off topic. My dog just started licking my feet, and now I started like, while you were talking, my dog literally just walked over me and like, oh, I'm gonna just fucking start licking his feet now.
I don't know what it is about dogs, but they all seem to have one unanimous foot fetish shared between them.
Yes. My pug, oh bless my heart, my old pug, he used to have this really weird obsession with feet, and he would always lay down on your feet, and he would always lick your feet, and one day, me and my older sister were sitting on the couch, and he was sitting on the couch with us, and he just walked over to my sister's feet, like she had a blanket like over herself. She just walked over to my sister's feet and started humping her feet.
You know what? Maybe dogs are on to something. Like maybe feet are really good, and we're just us uppity human beings just don't understand. And all those weird sex perverts on DeviantArt drawing their sonic foot fetish shit, like they're the real ones. They know. They see next level galaxy brain.
They've cracked the code.
Like, there's just dogs that have some primal thing about feet. Like, they understand they are one with nature, and all these sex weirdos, they get it too, and we're just too stupid. We don't get it. Like, we just don't understand.
I mean, like,
I don't have my third eye open.
It's I know people that have foot fetishes. I don't. I remember last podcast I had a long conversation with Saber Spark about fetishes, like fetishism and shit like that. It's
of course
fascinating to me. I've always found fetishism like super fascinating. Like
it's so strange, and it's so strange, but like everybody's got one.
No, that's the thing. Hell, some people have like 3 or 4, but like that's like. Fetishism is so fascinating to me, especially, I think specifically we were talking about it because of some of the animated videos he's done on like fetishy cartoon episodes. And I just remember saying, like, to this day, I've always wondered, is there ulterior motive to that shit? Or like with specific things, I've always wondered.
I'd like to naively believe that it's accidental and subconscious, because I think if you actually have any sort of fetish, you wouldn't intentionally try and put that into something, because then people are going to point and look at it and be like, you have this fetish, and you'll be like, oh no, my secret, it's out there. Unless, you have some sort of voyeur thing, I don't know. But like, I think what happens with a lot of people is they repress it, and then they accidentally put it in other places. Like
that Lilo and Stitch like fry cook episode, like that shit. Like,
God, it's weird though. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's definitely some fucked up weird shit going on with like kids' cartoons and writers having some strange interests. And
oh no,
I'm not the person to crack that code.
Me and my friend Chi-Chi had a long discussion about Don Bluth. Because I remember she pointed out to me like one day, she was like, have you ever noticed that Don Bluth has this weird fascination with mouths in his movies? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean?
Don Bluth gave me a teeth fetish. Like, I think he gave everybody like this weird teeth fetish.
Put that on a t-shirt, for the love of God. Don Bluth gave me a teeth fetish.
He does these big fucking toothy grins, and it's the best shit in the world, and I want to see more of it all the time, which is probably why I draw so much of the Hazbin characters, because they got the fucking teeth thing.
It's not even
going
that.
On too.
It was Chi-Chi was specifically talking to me about, like, have you ever noticed how there's a lot of times in his movies where there's shots of inside someone's mouth? And I thought about it, and I was trying to look up some of the movies, and I was like, oh my God, you're right. Like, there's always at least like one scene in a Don Bluth movie where there's like a shot inside someone's mouth or something that.
So what we're discovering here is that Don Bluth loves vor.
I mean, have you ever seen Bartok the Magnificent before?
I have not, but now I will have to check it out.
I actually showed this to Saber because I'm like, there is a scene in that movie. Holy shit, it is the fetishiest thing I've ever seen in an animated movie.
There is a lot of people nearly getting swallowed. You're right. No, I never really thought about that.
See, is it a vor fetish or is it just like a mouth fetish? Like that's the thing, because vor I always thought was just like being swallowed was the fetish.
Well, you gotta experience the mouth beforehand. Like maybe he's repressed it enough that he doesn't go like all the way with it, but like just enough of it peeks out by just giant snapping maws.
I always
like that's the peak of it that he kind of lets show.
Like I have dug down, and I even talked to. I cannot believe this is the second podcast in a row where I've talked about fetishy shit in animation. I don't mean for this. This
is what happens when you invite the furry. First, you invited Saber Spark, who is absolutely a huge furry. That was your first mistake, and then you invited me, also a furry. So of course it's gonna go there. Like it had nowhere else to go. It was a one-way street. We were barreling this way the whole time, and we had no choice.
We have nowhere to go but down. We have nowhere to go but down with
straight
discussion.
To the Hazbin Hotel.
We brought it full circle. But oh man, I gotta show you that shit after the podcast. It needs to be seen to be. Oh no, it needs to be seen to be believed. That scene in Bar Talk. It's. I have dug down so like fetishism fascinates. That's hard to say. Fetishism fascinates me in the sense that I've gone down some deep rabbit holes on the internet, like to find
which is
shit.
Also a fetish, coincidentally.
Yes. There is a Wikipedia I discovered by going down rabbit holes, and I forget what it's called. It's something like Fat Wiki, something like that, and it's literally an archive for every instance of weight gain in animation, every single instance of weight gain.
That's dedication.
Oh like,
no, somebody has dedicated their life. Like that's their life work.
Like no, and here's the thing: we thought like, okay, this can't have been. No, this was updated like 2 months ago. Like this has been around for like 7 or 8 years when I was like digging through this. Because me and a friend were just in a call one night looking through this shit, and we're like, oh my god, no, they literally have everything in here. Like it's everything involving this fetish.
I mean, like, honestly, that's kind of commendable. That's a lot of work to put
like,
in.
It's this giant archive. I'm like,
Jesus.
Oh no, it was genuinely like, I almost have to give this person respect for running an archive like this. Like to
I'm kind of
ashamed
to know that I'm kind of ashamed to know that I'll probably never care about anything in my life as much as this one dude cares about keeping his fat fetish wiki updated. This man has more passion than I ever will. Or woman. Or non-binary. We don't judge here.
Here's the thing. I don't know if it's one. It's like a Wikipedia, so I assume it's several people running it, but whoever made it.
Do you think it can be multiple people?
I don't know. I feel like to be able to keep up with it that much, I would think it would have to be multiple people.
Like, okay, do you ever like think about how there's these like weird enigmas of the internet, but like at the end of the day, like they're all just people. Like, do you think these people that run this fat fetish wiki, like, do you think they have like movie nights and like they just hang out? Like they just have normal lives. Yeah, like they all just come together like a normal group of friends, but just at the same time, they also just, very frequently update this Wikipedia about fat fetish.
I mean, I guess that's the same thing with everybody that has a fetish. It's like everyone has a normal life. They just have this one secret facet of the internet that they go to where they're just like, I like breast expansion, or I like weight gain, or I like shrinking, or like shit like that. Like everyone, I think everyone has that, like a little. I
mean, hey, as I always say, as long as everything's consensual, nobody's getting hurt, everything's legal, and on the up and up, like who cares,
That's like there are some fetishes that I think are a little too much, like scat porn. No, no, or diaper fetish. No,
I get you. Just have you heard about Rainforest? Like the final.
Yes, I watched Internet Historian's video on that entire thing.
I was there.
No,
I was there.
Wait, that was like the year that there were like diapers on cars and shit like that. Yes. Oh my god.
The year that everything got flooded because people were jamming. Yes, I was fucking there. And I can tell you, it's all true. It's, oh my god. The calling them like the diaper fetish people, they call them like crinklers or whatever.
Oh god,
it's fucking accurate. Because you're walking down the hallway minding your own fucking business and you just hear crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. And you're like, oh no. And then it gets louder and closer and louder. And you turn around And there's some 30-year-old fucking accountant with his little circular glasses and balding ass head walking around in a diaper that's swinging a little too heavily to be empty. And you're like, oh God, they found me.
You're describing this like it's a fucking slasher movie.
Because that's what it feels like, bro. You don't understand. Like, okay. Like I say, like, fetishes are all fine and good as long as it's consensual, legal, all on the up and up. Don't bring that shit into fucking public and walk around in your fucking shitty diaper. Like, if you want to go boom boom and cry for mommy and fucking get a boner from it, keep it in your own fucking house or hotel room or whatever the fuck. Like, God. But yeah, no, the internet historian video on that fucking convention, I was there. I can tell you it's real.
I mean, I happened. Given the amount of shit he showed in that video, I'd believe
I'm still going to therapy for it. I've never had to change a diaper in my fucking life, and now after that, I'm gonna make sure it stays that way. I'm never having kids.
Oh no,
I'm realizing, like, my whole persona on Hunicast is like, ooh woo, innocent, pure. Oh, Ashley is like, oh, she doesn't know what a penis is. She's never heard of that in her life. She's so ooh precious. And here I am talking about like weird shit, like not a bead of sweat coming off my head. I'm like, oh, whatever, it's fine.
This is casual as shit, man.
I'm breaking kayfabe real hard right now. I'm realizing. No Hunicast fans watch this. I have to keep my ooh innocent persona.
This is like, Hunicast is like a different character compared to this podcast.
What you're getting right now is the real me, which is really funny because, like, when people who only know me from the internet like meet me and actually talk to me, they're like, oh, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't know why. You're very a lot more blunt and unthreatened by many things. I'm like, I know. Hunicast breaks me. It's the anxiety more likely than anything. People are like, oh, she's ooh innocent baby, and it's like, no, I just have an anxiety disorder.
What was that tweet you posted a few days ago? Like, oh look, it has anxiety. What was that fucking picture you posted?
Oh yeah, I didn't say it, but it was supposed to be like God holding my fucking persona and like, oh, look at it, it has anxiety.
Look at this little rabbit, it's scared to death.
All day, every day.
I don't even know, like, what, with the Ashley shit, like, is it just the character itself that causes the flustering, or is it the voice? Because I've had friends where it's like a mix of both. Like,
so I can talk to you all day about like weird internet fuck shit, like diaper fed bullshit, like that doesn't get to me at all. But genuinely, when I am flirted with, no matter who it is, no matter if they're doing a character voice or not, I will lose my fucking mind.
So you mean to tell me,
and I have been that way for a while.
You mean to tell me if I right now did some fucking deep ass voice and went, oh Ashley, it would fluster the fuck out of you? I'm not gonna do it, but I'm saying that if I did, it would.
In theory, yes. Let's not test that.
Okay. I'll save it for the last.
You sound so disappointed. Like, oh, okay.
I'll save it for the last 10 seconds of the podcast.
But like, it's fucking. A lot of people think like, oh, all the flustering stuff. Like, it must be like a show. It must be like fake. Like, you can't actually get that flustered. I'll tell you. Ask any of my friends that when I'm hanging out with like Michael and Ed outside of like the podcast and shit, they will fluster me. They will say, oh, Ashley, and they will do the character voices and be all fucky and flirty and shit. And I will freak out just as much, if not more, than I do on the podcast.
So you mean to tell me they'll literally just walk up to you and just fucking, oh, Ashley.
Yes!
Like that shit?
Fucking yes! Like, oh my God, I'm never free from it. I'm never safe. Like, ever. Like, it's trust me, when you look at how I talk with my friends on Hunicast, that is literally no different from how we talk outside of Hunicast. Like, it is literally just us going out there and shooting the shit just like we do any other time. And so, yes, know that I am tortured just as fucking often, if not more, outside of Hunicast, and I fucking lose my mind just as much.
I mean, that didn't do it. That didn't get you when I actually did that shit earlier, did it? That thing when I was doing the example.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Is it actually fine? That didn't sound like you were fine.
I'm calling my lawyer after this, but it's fine. It's fine.
I'm suing this podcast for every fucking dollar that you have. Joke's on you. I don't have any money.
No! My greatest plans laid to waste.
But I guess back on the actual interview.
Oh god, the common denominator is me. I'm the one who makes everything go off the rails. No!
I am the problem. But I
That's
guess
my secret. I was always the problem.
You have your project Hell Puppy, which how is progress doing on that so far?
It's going good. So COVID kind of fucked everything.
Yes.
Fucked the whole world, and that kind of includes Hell Puppy. So because I've never led a project before. Like, I've never had my own project. I've never led a team. I'll be real with you. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing a lot of the time, but I'm aware of that. And so I have been doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of other creators that have led their own projects and like learning from them. And so I'm trying to take things as slow as possible, but that gives me a lot of anxiety because I'm like, oh God, this one teaser that we're doing has taken so long, and it's only going to be about like 2 minutes long, like at most, like with credits and everything. So it's going to be very, very short. And so I feel bad about that. But also, like, this is the defining moment for like what the project is going to be moving forward. Like, this is how we're picking out all of our voice actors, like the character designs, the style for the background, like all of that is decided now. And that takes the most amount of time, more than like anything. And so I'm taking it really slow, and everybody's doing like an amazing job. Like, the whole team is so wonderful and so talented. And one of the things that's been a little bit of a setback is one of my cleanup animators had gotten a ton of work done, and it was looking so good. Then his Boom files got corrupted.
No!
Lost. And I felt so bad for him. And then another one of my cleanup animators is going through a really rough time. And one of my other cleanup animators had a tree fall on their house.
Oh my God.
It's been nuts. And then on top of all that, COVID's adding extra stress and extra like just steps to the whole process. So it's going well. I constantly talk about like how long it's taking, because that's the thing that I have the most anxiety about, but it's honestly probably for the best that we're taking things slow, because I need to learn as I go along so that I can do right by my team. And right now I'm currently working with the composer to kind of start setting up our character themes and the sound of the music moving forward. And Dave, who's our lead writer on Hell Puppy, he and I are working on like the plot for the series as a whole, because what we want to do is release this first teaser to kind of set an expectation for the audience, and also just for myself and the team to just kind of get acquainted with these characters and figure out like what we're doing.
Like a proof of concept, basically.
Yeah, like a proof of concept. And then we're going to be releasing a second short before we hopefully, don't quote me on this could change, but before we hopefully actually kickstart like a first episode, an episode 1.
You say that. Watch this show up on the Hunicast wiki as fact when you say that.
People put shit that I say as like fact on like various wikis, and I'm like, how did you find this? I don't even remember saying this publicly. Like, one of the facts that there's a Hell Puppy wiki, and one of the facts for Kira, who's the demon dog, is that she's a gamer. And I'm like, I mean, you're right, but where the fuck did you find that information?
The shit posters are writing my show for me.
Or secretly, I've just been a shit poster all along.
I mean, given the discussions about during this podcast, I believe it.
Oh no, I've outed myself. Ah!
Someone's going to take this fetishy discussion we have and just assume that one of the fetishes we discussed happens to be one of your fetishes or something.
Fucking, you know it's gonna happen. I like, it's one of those things where, like, you joke about a fetish for way too long and then suddenly everybody thinks you have that. It's like how Griffin McElroy used to make like a ton of jokes about Vor, and then slowly like the lines started to blur and like everybody's just like, wait, does Griffin like actually have a Vor fetish? Like, do you need to talk about this, bro?
Like when I list off like those fetishes earlier, and I was just like, no, I was just listing examples.
They're not my fetishes. I'm just very deeply interested in them.
Yes, no, I am very deeply interested. Fetishes again. This shit is fascinating to me. I just love digging down into these deep ass weird rabbit holes of the internet. Like, because you find such fascinating shit when you dig that deep, and you find shit that's genuinely disturbing. It's
I think it's more disturbing than interesting things that you find, but you know.
Oh no, I have found shit that I wish I never saw. Like,
DeviantArt's a wonderful site. It's how I got my start. Never go there.
But I gotta say, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, of course. It went to some weird places, and I won't say I'm not to blame for that, but you know. But yes, thank you for having me.
Is there anything you want to promote?
Hi, Disney. I have a pilot that I would like to pitch. Please hit me up, ashleynicholsart@gmail.com. And also check out Hell Puppy at heckpuppo on twitter.com, or I guess you can check out my Twitter at ashnicholsart. That's where I post most of my things. And also check out the Hunicast, which is on YouTube with the channel Ashley Nichols Art. It's Ashley Nichols Art just everywhere. Like, that's how you can find me, and you can see the various things that I'm working on. And